Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Bryndís, and today's video is going to be a tag video called My Life in Books tag. I was having a little bit of a struggle figuring out what to post when I'm posting this video. I have a lot of actually book reviews that I want to do, but I haven't had the inclination to actually prepare them and do them yet. So I decided to go ahead with a book tag, and then I started to just kind of look through, Googled some interesting book tags, and I found this one, and I actually found it's really interesting because there's a YouTuber here that I follow. She's not a booktuber. I will link her channel below, but her name is Andrea, and she does writing content. She's a self-published author, an indie author. So she does writing content. She's also an instructor at the university. So she does kind of teaching, academia content, and just lifestyle, travel, and stuff like that. And she did this tag 4 years ago, I think. And I was just I really liked her answers. And so I looked a little bit further into it. And also, this tag has also been done by Pages and Polish. I don't know who made this tag originally, unfortunately. So if you do, please let me know in the comments, because I would really like to give them credit. I thought it sounded just very interesting, and so that's what I'm gonna do. It is called My Life in Books tag. I will leave all the questions below in case you're interested in doing it, and let's get into it. So there are 8 questions in this tag, and the first question: find a book for each of your initials. So I'm trying very hard to only use books in my physical library, but bookshelves, and so that's what I'm gonna try to do. And I'm just gonna go a little bit crazy and just pick all the books that fit that question, not just one. So my first name is Bryndís, obviously, and I have 4 books that I chose for this prompt. Books that the title starts with the B. And the first one is Beloved by Toni Morrison, and I have not read this book yet. I really want to read it, but at the same time I'm also quite scared because I think it's a super heavy subject for sure. Toni Morrison won the Nobel Prize and I am kind of going through and wanting to read all of the Nobel Prize winners, and I'm trying to start or at least prioritize all the women who have won, so that's why I bought this book, because it's Toni Morrison. But also I think this book is just it's an iconic book for sure. So I really want to get to this at some point, but like I said, I'm also quite intimidated by it. The other book that I chose as well for that has a B is A Brave New World, or Brave New World it's called. There's no A in there. And I've read this book. I read this book in college or high school even, in my English class, and it's a really good. It's I think it is considered to be a classic, like a modern classic, but I recommend that you read this book. It's really interesting, kind of imagining of how our future can look like. So super interesting. Another book that is also starts with a B is Bring Up the Bodies. This is the second book in the Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel. She obviously was an excellent author, won several literary awards, and it's so funny. I vividly remember Wolf Hall. I read the trilogy 3 or 4 years ago. I vividly remember Wolf Hall. I cannot remember this book at all. So it's definitely a book I need to reread for sure. But I have the copy and I'm very happy about that. And then the last book on my shelves that starts with a B is J.R.R. Tolkien's Beren and Luthien. I have not read this one yet. And I do plan on I'm going to have a Tolkien project or Tolkien month later this year where I'm going to read these shorter works by him as well as the iconic ones. So I really look forward to that. So my last name is Gunnarsdóttir. So it starts with a G. Daughter of Gunnar is my name. And I have 3 books on my shelves that start with a G. The first one is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. This book, I read it this year in March. It is, and there is a review on it on my channel, and it's so good. It's so funny, hilarious, and silly, and just pure joy. 100% recommend this book. Other book that I have is The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby. I feel like I've read this book, but then again, I don't know. But it's on my shelves. I will get to it eventually. And again, it's super short and everything. It's, one of those very well-known classics that everybody should read, I think. Or at least if you're into classics or modern classics, this is probably a book you should read. And F. Scott Fitzgerald, I think, also won the Nobel Prize. No, I can't remember, but yeah, this is definitely a book I want to get to. And then another book that also starts with a G is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Now, I did read this book in college, in my English degree. And I remember that I enjoyed it and I thought it was excellent. I think it was my second Dickens. But I don't remember the story. So I want to reread this one at some point for sure. But I love this edition as well. Yeah, so those are my G books. Question number 2 is, or prompt number 2 is to count along your bookshelves as many times as your age and pick that book. So I'm 48. Yeah, still. I'll be 49 later in the summer, but I'm 48. So I counted from like the top, you can see, and I grew into this shelf, and this is the book that I chose. House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. So this is a sequel to The Miniaturist, which is an excellent book, one of my favorite of last year. And I bought this one because I thought I was going to read it immediately, and I haven't read it yet, but I need to read it soon. And I really look forward to it. It's a historical novel, takes place in Amsterdam, I think then in the very early 18th century, 1705. And all I know is that the main character is the niece of the main character from The Miniaturist. That's all I know. And allavega. Anyway, I look forward to getting to this at some point. The third prompt is pick a book set in your city, state, or country. I decided to, I have a lot of books. I have 20 books or something that are all set in Iceland. A lot of them are set here in Reykjavik. But I decided actually to break my rule of only looking at the books that I have on my shelves, because last month I read Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. And this is set in Iceland. It's set in the north of Iceland, and it was so well done that I just needed to mention it because it's just excellent, and it just captures Iceland fantastically. She did such a great job of it, and it's so fantastic that someone who is not Icelandic was able to kind of use kind of these terms and things that is very like, I don't know, there were just things in this book that were just like so innately Icelandic that it's really remarkable that someone who wasn't raised here actually knows about and or was able to like implement in their book. So she did an excellent job of doing all that research. So I just want to mention that book. So the next prompt is pick a book that represents a destination you would love to travel to. Now, a lot of my books take place in England and the English countryside. I have books that take place in like Rome and places, stuff like that. But actually, one of the places that I would really love to travel to is the Lake District in England. It's in England, right? Not Wales. I think it's in England, yeah. And I don't know, I've read a lot of books or seen, mostly read books that take place there. And of course, you know, the poets Wordsworth and, what's their name? Shelley and the other one, I can't remember his name. They would spend time at the Lake District and their poems, some of them are, I have this very romantic fascination with the Lake District. So one of the books on my shelf where they do actually go to the Lake District, and that is The Other Bennet Sister. So in the second part of the book, Mary travels with her aunt and uncle to the Lake District, where they are like tramping about. And I thought it was really fun and to kind of experience that through Mary's eyes in this book, Mary Bennet. So, yeah, that's a place where I would really love to visit. The next prompt is pick a book that's your favorite color. That was very easy. Green. I love green. I think that's why I was so drawn to this book. I bought it without really knowing a lot about it. Thankfully, I really enjoyed this book, and I want to read the sequel, which is also beautiful in green, the cover. But the cover of this book is so beautiful. I mean, look at it. It's just, I think this green is so beautiful. I'm definitely also like kind of more, lighter greens, but this one is just still like mossy, dark green. Oh, it's just so gorgeous. I would actually like to have a wall in this color, and I might do that actually at some point. But yeah, green. The next prompt, which book do you have the fondest memories of reading or of in general? So because I wanted to only choose books on as much as I could from my bookshelf, I just went with Of Mice and Men. I read this book in high school. It must have been in high school because I was living at home. And I remember talking about it with my mom. And I didn't necessarily talk about my reading a lot with my mom. I don't think she did a lot of reading at a large part of her life, raising all these kids that she had. But I remember talking with her about this book, and it's one of my fondest memory with my mom, sitting in the kitchen in our old family house. Early in the morning, I was getting ready for school or going to school. She was going to work and whatever, and we were talking about this book. And I was a teenager, and this book really impacted me a lot when I read it. And so it was just very nice to, have that memory of her, and yeah, it's one of my best memories of my mom. Next one, prompt 7, is which book did you have the most difficulty reading? Now, there have been a couple of books that I've read in the last few years that have been quite difficult. Some of them have been maybe triggering. like difficult in that sense. I haven't really read anything that I found difficult in regards of understanding what was happening or anything like that. But this April I read Dubliners by James Joyce, and I love this book. It's a 5-star book for me, or I think I may have given the book the book as a whole 4 stars. I don't remember, but there are several 5-star short stories in this. There are 14 short stories, and few of them are just so good. And one of them especially, which is just it deals with suicide, and it deals with grief and guilt and loneliness, and it was so difficult reading it, and it's so triggering for me, having lost a loved one to suicide, but at the same time it was therapeutic. And it like I still think about it today, and I still get like choked up because it was so on the nose, basically. And yeah, it was so good. And it's called, the story that I found the most difficult to read is called A Painful Case. It's not a long book, I think it's like 11 pages or something like that. Or even shorter. And but it's just heart-wrenching, but like in a way that James Joyce's writing in this book is so good. Like, I can understand why he is such an icon. I have not read anything else by him. I do want to read more by him for sure. And I know that he is often considered to be a difficult writer because he went more into this kind of modernistic, I think, or postmodern or modern stream of consciousness type of writing style in some of his other work. But in this work, it's not that, I mean, there's definitely some, like, it's very kind of lyrical or kind of literary for sure, but it's not difficult to read. And I recommend this book so much. It's so good. And then the last prompt is, which book in your TBR pile will give you the biggest sense of accomplishment when you finish it? I have 3 books here. So 2 of them are probably everybody can understand why I would choose the 2 of them. So firstly, Of War and Peace. Now, I love reading classics or historical novels. This takes place in the Napoleonic Wars in the 19th century, and in Russia, obviously, and like Europe, and I think that, and I know that the story of the book is, I'm not worried about finding that uninteresting or boring. I think that it's gonna be one of my favorite books when I finally read it, but it is so big. Oh my God. My edition is like 1224 pages. It's like, oh my God. It's huge. So that's kind of why I am intimidated by this, and I think it's going to be a huge accomplishment when I actually finally read this book. And I am very confident actually that I will enjoy it, because the people that I know enjoy similar books like me, and yeah, but that's going to be a huge accomplishment. Another book that I want to read that I also think I'm going to be so proud of myself, and that is Ulysses by James Joyce. And this one is also quite chunky, but it's more the writing style, or the writing style, I suppose it's called, because I know that this is very much stream of consciousness. It's kind of, or that's what I hear, and it's very, particular type of writing. But I am going to read this book, and I do look forward to finally getting to it. but it's definitely intimidating. And when I do, I'm gonna be so proud. I'm gonna be shouting it from the rooftops. I read Ulysses. For sure. But to be honest with you, the book that I own, that I'm gonna feel the most accomplished, most proud of myself for when I actually finish, is going to be The Shining by Stephen King. And that's just because it's scary. It's such a scary book. And I am a scaredy cat. And I'm planning to read it this June. I have not started it as I'm filming this video, but I think I'm gonna try to start it as soon as possible, so maybe I can also just read like a chapter a day or something. So I won't overwhelm myself with very spooky hotel corridors and ghostly twins and whatever there is in this book. So, but I really look forward to actually reading it. I mostly though look forward to being done with it because it's just very scary. So there's that. I guess the only thing that's left is to tag some people. And I thought about who I would tag. And I decided to tag someone that I haven't tagged before. And obviously, people can choose whether they actually do the tag or not. But I thought maybe it sounds fun to you guys. So I want to tag Peyton at Book in Hand. I absolutely love her content, and she did the most fantastic video the other day where she read extreme horror for like a week. It was so good. It was so good. I absolutely love her channel. So go check her out for sure. I'm sure you already do. But anyway, and then the other one is Rebecca at Read Becca. I also really like her channel and her content, and of course her cats. You know, that's just the way it is. But I love it if you would do the tags, but obviously do only if you feel like it. And of course, everybody who's watching, if you think that this tag sounds interesting, please go ahead and do it. Just let me know in the comments below so I can come and watch your video. Guess that's that. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.